husband and I went back, and we walked the halls, and I was able to spend some time where his body was found, and I left behind 2 purple butterflies, one for him and one for Anne Marie, his special education teacher, to just try to connect with them in some way.
A 20-year-old mentally ill person in a home with several legally purchased weapons at his disposal took up a .22 caliber rifle, armed himself with some of the more than 1,400 rounds of ammo in the home, drove to the Sandy Hook Elementary School and proceeded to butcher 6 adults and 20 kids. Those 20 lives that were just the beginning had spent only 6 or 7 years on Earth, the adults 27 to 56. Tough to believe that was 3 years ago. Not tough to believe that in the wake of the national tragedy, here we are 3 years later, and the bickering between pro and anti-gun control advocates continues. Some believe the answer is to ensure every potential killer knows there are others in their midst who are also armed and are ready to take them down with no pause whatsoever. Is that the best answer? Our guest has been a law enforcement officer for more than 30 years, graduate of the FBI National Academy, and works tirelessly for victims' rights and protection. The Sheriff of Brevard County, Florida, Wayne Ivey. Sheriff Ivey, I want to thank you so much for being here because this is a subject that so many people are talking about now. Why do you believe that it's the best to arm civilians to shut these killers down?
Well, I think you have to look at the response times of law enforcement. As we've discussed over and over, law enforcement, even the best agencies have response times in minutes. And when you look at San Bernardino, California, you see a perfect example of it. 4-minute response time. And even with that incredible response time, they arrived too late and found too many dead. So when we're looking at potential solutions, the first, an immediate addressing of the threat, the ability to eliminate the threat or disrupt it while the cavalry's coming.
Now, I'm going to be very honest, because in a lot of the articles I've read, a lot of the surveys that I've looked into, and I've done a lot of research on this, I don't find a tremendous amount of research that says that even when people have weapons and they're at the scene of shootings such as this, that they will pull their weapon and even get involved. The evidence doesn't seem to be there.
Well, the first thing that we do, and even in our video that went out, we encourage our citizens, if you're going to carry a firearm, come take our training course. We do an extended training course because if you are going to engage, if that is the role you're going to do, then we want you to make sure that you're proficient at it and that it's something that you're not waiting for the emergency to happen to go into action.
Then let me ask this if you can, because we only have a couple of minutes. I want to make sure we get a few key points in here. How can you be certain that even somebody who takes a training course is going to be responsible enough to know to get involved in something like this and to actually be able to have the fortitude at that point, the courage, if you will, the impetus to take somebody out and do it right?
Well, first of all, I have absolute trust in our citizens to help us protect our community. We don't want to see anybody in a firefight, but what we do know is that you have to train with it enough that it becomes instinctive. You're practicing continually. You can't just go buy a gun and say, I'm going to use it to protect myself. It has to be something that you have a well thought out and methodic plan about what you're going to do if that situation ever happens, and we pray it never does.
Do you think that most people, at least 80 million Americans, have gone into a gun store and purchased a weapon? Do you think, though, that the preponderance of those people would actually get involved, and you could trust them to get involved and help the cops? Sometimes you don't know who the shooter is and who the killer is.
Well, we train every day routinely to deal with concealed carries, with open carry, with all aspect of it. Us responding to a scene or making a traffic stop with somebody with a gun is nothing new to us. What we're asking everyone to do is to have your plan set. If you are someone that's comfortable with a firearm and protecting yourself, don't just stop there. Make sure that you're going and training and practicing. If you're not someone that's comfortable with a firearm, then whatever method you've chosen to protect yourself, make sure you're practicing that. Run, hide, fight. Whether you're using pepper spray, whether you're using a taser, or you're employing one of those techniques of run, hide, and fight, you have to have it as a constant present thought. And unfortunately, that's the time we live in today.
10 seconds. Would you be willing to understand that a lot of these people might need to undergo mental health examinations before they own weapons?
Well, I think the mental health issues in the country are something that we all have to sit down and take a serious look at. But I do believe this, and I've said it from very beginning. We have gun control. What we have to do is look at criminal control and look at our mental health plan.
Sheriff Ivey, we're going to address this again down the road. I thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you joining us. Stay with us. The fastest 60 minutes of news, The Hard Line, continues.